I think it's a good time to hear from the member for Githunguri.
Mr. Speaker, I am glad that I've gotten this opportunity to contribute to this wonderful bill, and I want from the onset congratulate the chair of the committee that handles matters ICT in the National Assembly, the Honorable KJ, who I previously served with in the previous parliament in the same committee, a very informed member, and I'm sure the members of that committee appreciate that they have a talent in that committee. I participated in the making of this bill in the previous parliament in a way because I participated in the process of coming up with the idea behind Konza City Technopolis. Mr. Speaker, who knew or ever imagined that one time in the life of Kenyans would require oxygen? It only happened that during COVID, we all realized that we needed oxygen. Who knew that in the life of Kenyans, we would scamper for every available cylinder for oxygen? How many lives did we lose because we could not supply sufficient oxygen in hospitals, clinics, and dispensaries during COVID? I think that's an insight that we need to adopt from and start from. That whenever we are doing any planning in this country, we must give room to new ideas, innovations, and make sure that our structural design accommodates for such new ideas and innovations. Today, any person designing a hospital without accommodating or creating space for oxygen distillation, oxygen pumping, and gas and tanks for storage would actually be doing this country a lot of injustice. Anybody designing a hospital must consider how to put those structural requirements in place. Mr. Speaker, I am of the opinion that anybody designing a house, any form of a structure in this country, must be doing this country an injustice if we do not come up with a special room called technology room. Even in this parliament, on top of these galleries, we have technology rooms. And that is why we are able to adopt and move with the new technology year in, year out. Mr. Speaker, last parliament, we didn't have all these television screens we have here. We only had one. Now we have how many? About 7 or 8 in the room. And these are new jobs created, by the way, because these are all cameramen given new jobs to focus on parliamentary proceedings. What am I saying? I'm saying the idea of this technopolis moving from Konza centralized place to a decentralization program is a welcome idea. We must have a technopolis in every sub-county, if not every ward, so that in future, if we require to adopt, for example, we need to adopt the way we are covering our events using drones. If we need to accommodate such kind of technology that is coming and it's coming on in year in, year out, we accommodate new technology. So I am just concerned that we are running now to take every available land that is left in our neighborhood. We are running to build markets and affordable housing. Every other available space in our country, we are adopting new markets and affordable houses. And I'm wondering, the land that was put specially for innovation in agriculture, for example, the land that was used for Agricultural Development Corporation, the ADC pieces of land that are available in Nyandarua, available in Nyeri, available in Kiambu, we are running there to build affordable houses, forgetting that we may need those pieces of land for the new technology innovation that is coming. I was telling my brother KJ that right now we are floating in an era called the new information age era, where models of technology are being adopted, new telephony is happening, we are moving from the old age to new age. When we all run to our land and occupy on affordable houses and markets, what will happen tomorrow if we have another COVID of a new nature that require us to have, for example, rescue centers, more rescue centers? What will happen? Where will we go? What will you use? So I'm not fighting. I'm not here to say that affordable houses are not good. But of course, we cannot just grab every other land, take every other available space and occupy it with markets, forgetting that we are also moving technologically. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say all the pieces of land that were left for agricultural training center, the ATCs, every district, the so-called district in the old constitution, had an ATC, an agricultural training center. We should not run to transform that land from ATC to affordable housing. We should be thinking, what sort of a technology should we adopt so that we can help farmers marry with the new technology instead of abandoning the agricultural training centers and making them markets and affordable houses. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this bill. And in fact, I advocate that every sub-county should have some space left for technopolis. In that technopolis, we should be able to use technology to help our farmers. Mr. Speaker, I'm just from my constituency in a place called Lioki, and I was meeting about 1,000 farmers, coffee farmers. And to my shock, that coffee factory is officially dead. Those are factories that used to help us to process our coffee, pulp our coffee, market our coffee. 1,000 farmers were crying to me as their member of parliament to assist them to revive that coffee factory. I asked in the group, who is here who can help us to revive this coffee factory? They nominated 3 young Gen Zs who have degrees in economics, degree in commerce, and a degree in agroeconomics. And they are in the village idle. We are crying that we have no money in our pockets. We are crying that our coffee have nowhere to be pulped or factory to operate, but our children with degrees are in the villages. Don't you think we need to think very critically? Something is not right with us. How do we educate people with degrees and then we collapse the factories where we are supposed to be employing them? So I have engaged myself in the meeting with the farmers, and we have agreed that we are going to even fundraise. If we cannot get money from government, we are going to fundraise to make sure that we revive that coffee factory. But Mr. Speaker, that is not where I am. I am saying I wish this Technopolis Center, one of them, would be brought to Lioki village. And that Lioki village, there are so many learned young people, Gen Zs, who are ready and ably equipped by the government of Kenya, and they have papers to work in such kind of centers. So I appreciate the idea. I appreciate the ideology. I welcome the thoughts that we can actually decentralize Technopolis from Konza to even my village in Githunguri. And how I can't wait to see us thinking in a manner of how we can be able to use technology even to cure the existing economic problems we have. Mr. Speaker, about 2 months ago, I traveled to native Italy. Native, that means the very interior places of Italy. And I realized that the generations of the early 60s, 40s, 60s, built their houses, and every house had a banker. Every house has a banker. You know, the underground banker. Because they built and designed their houses ready for war. Those bankers helped them so much and keeps helping even now during winter. Those are the bankers that they use to store their wheat during winter, and they secure their food. Unfortunately, majority of the young population in Italy have moved from the villages to the towns. So the native Italy villages are abandoned. But there are still bankers being used to store food, even for export market. People who designed those houses were ready for a sanctuary. They were planning for a sanctuary existence. Technopolis Ideas of Kenya, what we are reading from this bill, it is our planning for a century to come. And we must accommodate Technopolis in every village if we can. I support. Thank you very much.
Well said. Member for Kaiti.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me opportunity to contribute to this important bill, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I give my contribution,